Yes, sir, Colonel Deep, please go ahead with your question, please, or comment.
जी, आपने अपनी टॉक के दौरान इमरजेंट एवोल्यूशन की बात की,
जी जी
तो आप कुछ एग्जांपल दे सकते हैं कि इमरजेंट एवोल्यूशन के जो हमारी जिंदगी में हमें दरपेश होते हैं, और जरा इसको वाज़े और एक्सप्लेन कीजिए.
हाँ ठीक है, आपकी बात बड़ा, इट्स अ वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन दैट इट कम्स टू आवर माइंड दैट हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू display that attribute of Rahman. Rahman means it's an emergent evolution. What happened that when human being came into existence as part of evolution, then suddenly a step change occurred, that he became aware of his own self. Now, if we see all animals have brain and they are aware of it because they are not aware of that they have brain, but they can see things and they can react as well. For example, a pet, when people come home, their pet will go around their legs because their sustenance or means is attached with them, and they show affection towards their owner. Now, that is the normal, the way brain works. But in the case of human beings, metacognitive power came in, where we became aware of our own thoughts. So our thoughts became aware of our own thoughts. And that is where these neuroscientists are struggling to find out how can a thought, which is an abstract thing, not visible, can be aware of its own self. And that is what emergent evolution is in the case of human cognitive abilities. Now, what will happen is in our own life that being is a system which will function on human working. And in that, there will be procedures in place which will come under Rahim, that everyone will get whatever they want in terms of their entitlements, and they will have certain duties, certain responsibilities, and that will be covered under Rahim. For example, they will have a health service, they will have all social security aspects as well, the way it is working in some of the developed countries. They will have, all of them will have a job according to their abilities and their own outlook. Disabled people will be looked after. So that will be part of Rahimiyat. But again, there will be certain aspects for which we will require a sudden reaction. For example, suddenly some natural destruction comes, a natural event comes. And that is where the Rahmaniyat will come in. That we will have a risk management aspect of it. Similarly, if somebody wants to change, suddenly he or she rises to a very high level of development, then we have to, in the system, we have to cater for that emergent change which comes within human beings. Most of the human beings are quite happy the way life goes on in their life. They are good followers. But there are people who would like to be outstanding, who would like to exceed the normal standards which the society is laying for them, or normal standards of Rehmat. They would like to go to a very high level of understanding. And in that case, this aspect will come as well. But the way I look at it is that when Quran says, Ar-Rahmanu Allama al-Quran, the Rahmaniyat Quran is saying and drawing our attention is that if you want quick results in your life, within your lifespan, then you have to acquire what is given in the Quran and follow it. And the recipe for that, that is why I overemphasize today on Iman and Amal Saleh, that apparently this looks a very simple recipe, and our mind says, no, it cannot happen. But Quran is saying that you follow it and then see the change which comes within you, and the change comes within the Jamaat which people make by coming together. And then you will realize that things will start falling in place. So that is where the Rahman and this particular attribute comes into play. There are far more examples as well. For example, even nuclear energy comes under that suddenly we get so much energy which can be utilized. Today, of course, it is being made use of in terms of producing energy as well. But at the same time, in terms of destruction, see how much quickly it can destroy. And similarly, there are a number of other examples we can give which will manifest themselves once we have established the system of being. All treatments will come under that, where suddenly something appears before us, we will be having a solution for that. That is, the normal pattern is discontinued, and suddenly where a help is required, we apply that. That will come under this particular attribute. Anyway, that is my understanding, sir.
Right. Thank you.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. जी मुमताज भाई.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम जनाब. बहुत जबरदस्त और बड़ी comprehensive lecture.
Thank you very much.
So there is a one point you said that to create Jannah life in this world is also a Rehmat under the guidance of Quran. So physically, how it is? My point is that the era of Prophet is now gone. Quran is there to create human, to fetch Rehmat in this world, to get Rehmat, and that is through scientific developments. That will continue until the end of world, and they will provide, they will fetch aspects of Rehmat from the universe and hand it over to the human, the coziness, there are many facilities that were not available to the previous people, and those will be made available to us and in future, like car, like aircraft, like telephone services. These are making the world as Jannah. So physically, all those Rehmat content from this universe, we have to extract it through scientists and then development, technological development. So I believe, what do you think about this aspect?
No, I thank you very much for asking that question. That's a very good question, because you have given it a lot of thought. And the thing is that whatever is available presently, one thing you agree that this is a man-made world. It is based on human intellect. The Quran doesn't come into it. Do you agree on that?
Yeah.
Yes. See, I don't think Joe Biden follows the Quran or anywhere else.
This is human instinct, human. Allah
based on human intellect. It is based on
human God has created this ability, yes, and then guided us that please see the universe. Look at how the creation was made.
The benefits. So all those benefits. See, the whole thing is about assumption on which we are living this life. Human intellect has assumed that human intellect or human body will die, and the moment they die, the life ends and there is no life beyond hereafter. So from that respect, it means that all those human beings, while they are benefiting as far as the physical aspect of this life is concerned, as you said, the science, and they're making use of it for their advantage, but the distribution of those benefits is not taking place as the Quran is asking us to make it available for the whole of mankind. And of course, it starts from a small Jamaat, and it starts from a small model and a small place somewhere where these things then grow like a seed. So concept of Rahmat of the Quran is not the concept of Rahmat of human intellect. Human intellect can think of anything. You know, when people read the Quran, they pick and choose, and they say, this is also Rahmat because I'm well off. And if you ask them, they will say that, how are you? They say, Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. But that is not the concept which Quran is putting forward. If you remember, Quran has said that this book has come to you, which provides the solution or to the contentment of hearts. And then it says that it is Hidayat and Rahmat for Mu'mineen. So it is differentiating between the two. So when I was going through this work, I concentrated a lot, which I did not do previously, that wait a minute, when Quran calls itself Rahmat, then that Rahmat is for Mu'mineen, not for everyone. While his Rahmat is available everywhere, but it is up to human beings to go and make use of it. Just like if you remember, Dr. Hamid once explained about time. The time in any case is available to every one of us. It's freely available. But how much of that time I make use of it in the light of the Quran to create a new life and then work for the system of deen, develop myself, that is the real time of mine. And that could be few years out of 80, 90 years which we live in this life. And see, we have to look at it as a wholesale. So Quran is saying that this Rahmat is made available to everyone throughout the universe, like human cosmic consciousness, as Dr. Hamid has said previously, that this consciousness is available to everyone, that how much of that consciousness my consciousness is making use of, that is the point before us. So what you are saying is, there is no doubt that people are making a lot of developments in the scientific world, and some kind of welfare states they have also created. Of course, those who are living in the West, they are beneficiaries of that, that system. But that is only catering for the physical side of it. It is not catering for the negative side of it, the self side of it. I'll give you a small example. I was, this morning, I was with someone who is a doctor, and we were looking at people going around the park. And we were discussing the Quran. And I said that, again, we talked of this welfare thing and Rahmat. And he said, Abu, you do not know that how much burden these human beings are carrying because they are not on this path. It's a miserable existence they have in their head. Don't go on their outlook and their cars and their houses and their. And that is where Rahmat comes in. See, and if we have, like you said, 20 beliefs which are against the Quran, put all those 20 beliefs in a human head. And even if he or she is the beneficiary of this system, you tell me, can they be happy with 20 beliefs stuck up in their mind, which are all false?
No, they cannot.
So he or she cannot benefit from Allah's Rahmat, which is available everywhere. Why? Because those 20 beliefs are obstructing them to reach out to this Rahmat and get the best of it. Contrary to that, let's say anyone, I'll not give any particular example, let's say Rasul-ullah's example are his companions. They had only one model in their consciousness, and that was the attributes of Allah. Just one, Tawheed, a unity. And with that kind of mind, or with that kind of consciousness, see, they could take maximum benefit in this life as well as in the hereafter, because that consciousness is going forward. How can that consciousness, which is laden with the 20 or 100 or 30 false beliefs, can get a new life? So
the one aspect,
that is the point which Quran is making to us, that Rahmat means that how do we bring ourselves in line with this so that humanity is suffering because of the world which is created by human intellect. There's no doubt there's a lot of development taking place.
I see it in slightly same thing in a different way, that God created ability in human. Allah ne har cheez ke naam bataya. Then God asked, okay, explain or tell those names. So he develops that ability and milk the universe. The universe is subdued to human.
That's
so
fine.
Milk the technologies. And make the life easy. So we are in a cozy homes, but the animals are not. Animals in the jungle in the cold, dark nights. They don't enjoy that, which Rahma, yes, it's their own environment they enjoy, but the Rahma we enjoy is the life like Jannah in this world. And jo is dunya ka anda wa akhirat ka anda. If we don't do this, we will not get the hereafter. The same thing, I believe.
What
so
you are
this
saying is that
technology,
all these people who are not following the Quran, they are all seeing and all observing those human beings.
Yes, it's humanity, Adam.
But how Muslim. Can someone get a hereafter if he or she does not accept the existence of the hereafter?
Yeah, hereafter, yeah, they may not.
That is the fact. No, you answer me. You answer me. that if I say that my life will end with death, and I have created tremendous facilities here, you name it, I'm Nobel Prize winner of 20 Nobel Prizes, let's say, then if I don't want a life in the hereafter, and you will agree, brother, that we follow our wishes and desires. So I say that my life will end with death, and I don't want the life of the hereafter. Remember, Rehmat also means not to be hopeless about the hereafter. So if I say there is no life in the hereafter, then my life will end with death. So am I not blind as well?
Yeah, you're right. In
That
way.
is the point.
But
That
at
is
least,
the point Quran is making. Say Quran does not. Quran nowhere rejects the developments and the inventions and the science which is developing here. Quran appreciates that, but it says that all of this, the benefits of this, will end with death. So Quran is asking us, mu'mineen, whoever are mu'mineen, let's assume, that not only do that which people who say that life will end with death, but you do that as well and also go beyond it. Because the scientists have a lot of miseries in their private lives. And then they are all the time fearful that the life will end with death. I will ask you to see some of the interviews which Professor Paul Davies has given on YouTube. And see, because he does not think that the life will go beyond death, you can feel his hopelessness in his interviews at some stage. And I had written him a letter as well, and I sent him What is Islam as well recently. And he's a very busy man, of course, because he's in a lot of demand, because he sells what people want to listen. But he's a top-notch physicist. But listen to him, and he argues beautifully. He says that there is definitely a creator, there is no doubt. And this universe is very precisely timed, very precisely clocked, and it has a purpose. But what is that purpose? He has no clue about it. So that is how we have to compare and contrast, and then come to conclusion that without Quran, we can't find the answers to a lot of our questions related to our existence. Right, thank you very much. जी डॉक्टर साहब, sorry late हो गया, थोड़ा लंबा हो गया.
Assalamu alaikum. It was good whatever I listened, but the thing is I again missed part of it because of the time. I'm still not settled here because our time has changed. I was thinking it's 9 o'clock, but you already started it. Okay, let me clarify what I understand. But in my opinion, Quran says, "Wama bikum min nematin faminallah." All the name thing is from the God to us. Obviously, if He doesn't give me the brain, I'm useless. So what he's saying, the Rahm has two aspects, as you mentioned very well, the Rahimiyat and Rahmaniyat. Rahimiyat, He gave, because He gave us the brain. So He said, with your brain ongoing, with human intellect, whatever you produce, you are doing part of Rahimiyat, with the sciences, with the technology, with the own growth of human, to sustain yourself, right? We are sustaining ourselves because what He gave us. So that is the ongoing, progressively nourishment of humanity is Rahimiyat. When he says, when you are doing with your own sciences, with your own effort, with your daily working and hard working, if you get stuck, if the humanity as a whole gets stuck in a circle, can't move forward, then He said, Ar-Rahmanu Allama al-Quran. Then use this knowledge for your emergent evolution. You see, when Prophet Muhammad was at that time, humanity was almost there to commit suicide. The same Persian and Roman Empire were clashing. Same way here, United States, and they are almost thinking of China and Russia to fight. So when that time comes, the humans start thinking, and then this Quranic teaching comes into pictures, and suddenly a change comes. Sudden change, which is that's what God says, Rahmaniyat is from us, and Rahimiyat, you do your progressive work, and then you maintain yourself, nourish yourself, and for the emergent nourishment, I will take care of it through the Quran. But that's what we all do actually on a daily basis. The other thing is that was just the yes, sciences, all the human intellect, that is part of Rahimiyat. It's not like, yeah, God takes the authority because he gave me the brain, but he said, Rahimiyat, you're doing it yourself. It's ongoing progress, human nourishment. There is a question in my mind regarding Quran also says that the Rasul-ullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mu'mineen ke liye Rehmat hai. Obviously says Rahmatul lil Alameen. So how, I'm still pondering on it, how Rasul is a Rahmat, whether we are following his footsteps, or footstep means following the Quran, or is there any other way?
Yes, now that's very good, because I have also given it some more thought when I was going through this presentation. Before that, Iftikhar Bhai, welcome. Could you? I made you the co-host. Could you take over your?
Sure. Apologies. I had something to do and I am late. Apologies. Gigi, I'll become the co-host from now.
We obviously missed you. And
Thank you.
You can now take over your question answer session, because after I have commented on what Dr. Hamid said, and I'm sure there is a lot more will come from his side. There was a question from Brother Rizwan Sayyed, and I will read that after I have responded to Dr. Hamid.
Thank you.
That's what I thought was Rahmatul Alameen, his position. See, when we become a mu'min, when Rasul-ullah came to the Quran and he reached a certain level of his self-development. You want to say something?
No, what I'm saying is, when obviously Quran says Rahmatul lil Alameen, has nothing to do with Muslim, nothing to do with Mu'min, with nothing to do with it's for everybody. It's for non-Muslim too.
Yes, as you also say, we discuss it and we say it again and again among our members, that Quran is for us, for each one of us. And in terms of cost-benefit analysis, I have to look at it that when Quran says, "Umar salnaka illa rahmatul alameen," what is in it for me? And I'll tell you a very interesting point which came to my mind as well, which Quaid-e-Azam and Allama Parvez had a exchange of views, where Allama Parvez said that this creation of Pakistan may not happen in your
I know that.
And what did he say? He said that
Muhammad ki wajah se hua, hame to koi
exactly same thing came to my mind as well, which didn't strike me previously, I must say. That we are in a very tight situation in today's world as well. And what did he do? He understood the rahmat of Allah, and he knew exactly that this Iman and Amal Saleh is a simple recipe, and I might think that it is not. We have to continue what we are doing. And numbers are not important. See, even in Surah Juma, Rasulullah is addressing them and people leave the congregation. They just move away because something came up in the outer side of the mosque or wherever he was addressing. So the lesson for me, for you, and for those who are very firmly on this path, and they say, no, I'm not going to give it up. Doesn't matter whether it is 1% or 10% or a million people, it makes no difference. So what I got from him was that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam became the focus of the Quran as a model. He is, because when it says Khulqun Azim, it is taking an ordinary human being who came to the Quran and became that which Allah wanted him to become. And from that point of view, I agree that he was the one, just like Hazrat Ibrahim, just like other messengers of Allah, just like us. He became a justification for the creation of man in this world. You know, because he was right at that focal point where Quran uses him, Allah uses him as a model, and he tells Mu'mineen and everyone that, look, my messenger is following this path, and I am helping him, and you are helping him. And then he addresses him as if it is his task, that I have helped you with my help, with the help of Malaika, and with the help of Mu'mineen. So I think we have to concentrate on that, that when he says Rahmatul lil Alameen, that is for all times, for all words, he becomes that focus as a human being who around him the whole message of the Quran is built up.
Right,
but if you have something,
understand in a way, as long as, I mean, non-Muslim, that means when they come towards Quran, that's where they get Rahman.
Yes.
As long as they are doing their own things, he is not Rehmat.
No, he's not Rahmat.
Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm with you on that.
Because
and I agree with you that we need to probably, there is an emotional side of it as well, because we are a sum total of intellect and emotions. So I'm definitely going to look into it in more detail.
There is one verse where Quran says in Surah Baqarah, in 64 or so, that if there is no Rahman, the law of Rahmah of God, then the Bani Israel's crimes were so much that they were doomed. Because they are not doomed because the law of Rahmah. Rahmah means when you you make a mistake, to come back to reality and then do the right thing, that is Rahmah. Making a mistake, putting a finger in the fire is the mistake, is the guna, whatever, and then having a medicine which he made for Rahmah to put it on is the Rahmah. So to fix the mistake is Rahmah. So that means if he created laws, if you go against it, then it's a guna or mistake. And when you follow his laws again, the other law, which is Rahmah, then you get benefit and you get saved. So that's why I said Bani Israel did so many mistakes. And if the Rahmah was not there, they would have been gone, vanished.
So for us is as well, that is the situation we can get out of it if we make use of this attribute of Allah. Now, if there is a question which was asked in our forum by Rizwan Sayyed, I'll read it out. My question: take an imaginary and very tragic scenario of a parent who has a 6-year-old child with untreatable bone cancer. Where is Allah's Rahmat or Rahmaniyat in this situation? Convince the suffering parent or child that this is some kind of Allah's divine grace or plan which one should submit to regardless of the apparent injustice in such a situation. Now, the way I look at this question was, there were some verses quoted by Brother Tahir from Manchester, where the verse Surah Al-Baqarah 2:13, where the Quran says that you will be put through trials and tribulations. Now, I thought that verse doesn't apply here because that is a verse addressed to Mu'mineen when they're trying to establish the system of deen and all types of trials and tribulations come to them. We are, of course, working towards that, but it is merely a theoretical stage at which we are working. Now, these doubts come to our mind because we do not understand that in a human world, it is human hands which solve human problems. The cancer which happens in our world today is that we have to find out the cause of it. And if we find out the cause for it, as Dr. Hamid said, that then we can find out the treatment for it. If we don't know the cause for it, then we will not find the treatment for it. In today's science, it has become very clear that cancer is because of environmental factors, because of nutrients, because of our lifestyle, and because of some genetic makeup as well. Though in epigenetics, they reject it. They say that genetic is not the cause, mainly the way we live our life and the way our physical configuration is. But there is a lot of research going on that in a non-Muslim world. Muslim world is, of course, busy with their 20 beliefs or 30 beliefs. They are doing nothing. So expecting Allah by picking up one verse here or that and translating Rehmat as mercy, that is where the problem comes in. Because we do not try to see that what Quran is saying. Quran has very clearly said that Allah does not do zulm to any human being. Human beings do zulm to themselves. And I remember, Dr. Hamid, you have already very emphatically said in one or two of your lectures that human beings do harm to themselves. Allah does not come into it. It is our responsibility to find the cause of every problem which we face here. And as far as these parents are concerned, of course, they will suffer. Anyone will suffer. But the issue over here is even bigger. Issue is that what is the purpose of death? If a child dies, of course, it's extremely sad. It is tragic. It is grief. We can never imagine the pain of parents whose child dies. But the issue is why death is there, why Allah ordained the death in the first place. Death means that we have a finite time in this world. And we have to make best use of our time over here. Now, if we are not guided or nobody gave us the message of the Quran, that is fine. Of course, then we don't know. But those of us who have come to this path, we have to make our maximum effort put into it and get the maximum out of it by coming together and understand the finer aspects so that we can explain it to others. That death is not the end of our life. If we think that death will give us no more life, then we should by all means cry and have grief and have miserable reaction to it. But the fact is that in the light of the Quran, we know that death does not mean, physical death does not mean that the life will stop there. Life is going to go forward, and the proof of that lies within us, because it is at myself's level that I'm questioning death. And if I do not bring that new life within me, then of course I'll be sad that I'm going to die and there is no more life. So if I don't desire a life of the hereafter, how am I going to get it? It's very simple. We should sit down and think about it. That if I don't want life in the hereafter, I don't work for that, I don't come to the path, I don't make use of Rahmat of Allah, then come together, hold on to his rope and not to give up, get rid of all dissonances, then I'm not going to find the answer to my existence, which the Quran is trying to put forward to us. So that is the thing where we need to resolve this issue. And incidentally, I'm thinking of putting a presentation together on cognitive dissonances, and hopefully it should be an interesting presentation, because human mind has a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of disagreements which arise in our mind because of our ability to have choices. So mind also gives us a lot of choices in every situation. So we have to resolve those conflicts within us so that we come to some kind of a unity of thought outwardly. Yeah. I'll leave it to Dr. Hamid now to comment on that further. That this question was that my child is dying, or even misery in the world. If we look at yatim and miskeen, what is their fault? They are just born into a system.
As I as you mentioned already, that God is not going to interfere in human affairs. The ghalti ki islah ho jana is rahma. Ghalti ki islah ho jana is rahma. So if there is a ghalti, like say cancer, उसका इलाज मौजूद है तो रहमत है. अगर आपने अभी तक इलाज नहीं निकाला, it's our problem. We haven't discovered anything. We are moving slow. So if we haven't discovered the treatment for that cancer, then we have to struggle more. God has given the knowledge of all the universe, and he has taught us that we have a capacity to learn, but we are getting into different directions. We're not focusing on human welfare. We are greedy, right? So it's like before in the Quran says, they translated, no human knows what in mother's womb is, male or female. But when we created sonogram, we can tell it way before that what's going to be, right? So human has the ability to bring rahma as much they want, but if we don't want it, we don't put effort into it, we're not going to have it. So tomorrow probably there is a treatment for that rahma, for that cancer, but it's our negligence, it's our slowness that we are not there yet.
So we essentially cannot blame Allah for that.
No. He doesn't interfere in human affairs. If I haven't done something, that is my problem, not his problem. He has given me the machinery to do it. Like you said, all Muslims are not focusing on these things, and very few people are focusing on. If a lot of people are focusing, then we can figure it out a lot of things faster.
Thank you. I think it's a brilliant way to look at the issue. The problem lies within us. We need to understand how laws of Allah operate. Mm-hmm. If we don't make that effort in order to untangle them, then the issue lies with us, not with Allah. Beautifully said. Ejaz, if there is any other questions, please you may answer. But there is no
there was one clarification, Iftikhar Bhai, which I would like to share with everyone. There was one verse in which word ummi was used, and ummi, the normal translators say that unlettered messenger of Allah, or unlettered Nabi, or unlettered prophet. I looked at it and I am very uncomfortable with that. The reason is that Rasul-ullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the kind of message he got, and then out of that Furqan Azim and Rahmatul Alameen appears, is that doesn't do justice really. But I looked at its root, and its root means that first is that of course unlettered is also included, but is from mother, as we know. And ummi over here is a very, I think there is a more work required on that. But two aspects really appealed to me. One was that not being from the people of the book, because the book, the verse also says that these people of the book, because those were the addressees of the Quran at that time, other than mushrikeen. And so ummi is the one who is not from the people of the book, which makes sense. And the second one was also Ahl al-Qura, that the one who is the resident of some place or some town or some even country, one can say. So ummi means that Rasul-ullah is addressing them, not being people of the book, because there was no book among Quraysh or among Meccans at that time, number one. Number two, as a Meccan he's addressing them, or as one in Medina he's addressing them. So these two aspects are we should keep it in mind, ummi. And somehow I'm not comfortable for him being declared as unlettered. And particularly when the Quran has been revealed to him and the kind of personality he is manifesting, that is absolutely brilliant. So Dr. Hamid, if you want to comment on that, please.
No. you're right in a way. I don't think it's an unlettered thing. There's nothing, no meaning out of the root word
Yeah.
Me, ye is for me, my mother,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
Mary
absolutely.
mother, right?
Absolutely.
Ummi means my mother. That's it. If you go by the word of Quran, it explains this way. We cannot say God has mentioned Jesus Christ, right? He was, because in the past people were known to their parents, if whoever parents is more significant. Like even here, Indira Gandhi was more famous by her father's name, or Nehru, whatever. So they used to use Isa ibn Maryam, not Isa ibn whatever. So that's the reason Ummi is my mother, in if you take it literally. But yeah, I mean, if because the Nabi is also a mother. Quran says Nabi is, Ummat develops from Nabi, and Nabi is the mother of Ummat. In that sense, we can take it where if you didn't have any Nabi, and then you can be in that category.
Shama Behan.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम, शुक्रिया एजाज भाई मुझे इंक्लूड करने का, क्योंकि पता नहीं क्या बात है, मेरे फोन में क्यों प्रॉब्लम हो रही है आजकल, मैं इसको चेक करवाऊंगी। तो मैंने मुझे आज एक तो सबसे पहले आपका लेक्चर बहुत अच्छा, बड़ा अच्छी तरीके से हर चीज को आपने एक्सप्लेन किया और हमें काफी ज्यादा उसकी समझ भी आई है। लेकिन ये जो अभी आपने लास्ट में उम्मी का लफ्ज इस्तेमाल किया, ये मैं भी कभी कंफ्यूज होती थी कि कैसे हमारे वो रसूल जिन्होंने हमें इतना बड़ा मैसेज दिया, जो इतना बड़ा एक इनकलाब लेकर आए, वो उम्मी कैसे हो सकते हैं। तो आज डॉक्टर हामिद मियां जो है, उन्होंने भी और आपने भी जो एक्सप्लेन किया, इससे थोड़ी सी हमारी अकल के दरवाजे खुले। Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Absolutely, I agree with you. That is where, याद है आपको, अल्लामा परवेज बार बार कहते हैं कि कुरान के अल्फाज से ऐसे ही ना गुजर जाया करें।
कि कुरान ने ये भी कहा है कि कुरान को खामोशी से और तवज्जो से सुनने से भी रहमत मिलती है। This is very interesting to me because, as I said, when you go in solitude, and you, at that point, who is there beside you? You and you, or you and God, right? Because he's inside of you, and he's closer to your carotid artery. So when you are in solitude, then you listen to him and he listens to you, right? But you have more connection. So when you have too much noise around you, everybody's putting doubts in you. But when you are in solitude, you're alone with him, with your best friend. So that's why he says, when you are in खामोशी से सुनने से और कुरान को गौर से सुनने से भी रहमत मिलती है. So that is very interesting to me. So yeah, your question regarding, so it's a pondering on Quran basically.
Welcome, sir. So good to see you all. Makes my day. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, walaikum salam.